Everybody, we are back. It is Safe on Live's favorite podcast, favorite channel, favorite everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt, and of course pandasubs.com TDL discount code for 35% off. All right, so guys. Today we're going to be doing a kind of a little bit of a wide receiver battle thing because this is what we got for these camp battles. I mean, of course, we got quarterback battle that's going to be coming up. Maybe we'll do another review of Minshew and O'Connell later on because that's like the big battle. But we're going to be looking at Jaylen Guyton and Michael Gallup today. So we're back to the pros, guys. We're back to the pros. No more broadcast or videos. Even though it's very hard for me to find Jaylen Guyton film. It felt like I almost had to go broadcast. I was close because, most of his films for 2021, but he played he got to play like 3 games, right? And then in 2022, he didn't play at all. So, yeah. So that was a little tough for me.
I can't remember. Was he injured last year?
I don't think so. I just think that they were just maybe he got injured. I don't know, but he didn't play like the first 8 weeks. So I don't know. Maybe they signed him late.
Gotcha.
I'm not sure about that.
I remember he had an injury, and it's like kind of similar with Gallup. Like he had an injury and kind of hasn't been quite the same since. So I don't know. Maybe he's recovering for that. Take a peek, but yeah.
I think somebody said to me on Twitter, I was talking about Kyle Hamilton hanging with him, but he's still pretty fast. It wasn't like he's slow or anything like that. It's just I could see how he probably isn't as fast as he used to be, but going from 4.3 to what a 4.47. I mean, you know what I mean? Like. What's the real drop off here? So he ran a 4.39 coming out. So but anything else? I mean, anything happened? Nothing happened at OTAs. I mean, they're talking about Minshew and O'Connell today. Not really a lot of positivity from the offense yet. That's I definitely want to go to training camp this year because I just want to see this stuff in person and kind of come up with my own thoughts with this because I'll never forget seeing Amir Abdullah running with the ones the whole time, and nobody mentioned it, and I got in trouble for mentioning it. So I think that's something I want to see. I just want to see how these guys look in person. Just because it's true, man. Amir Abdullah was literally running with the ones, and nobody said anything.
Yeah. Josh McDaniels was all over your ass, dude. He wasn't putting up with it. He wasn't putting up with your crap, dude.
Yeah, I couldn't say they had 3 safeties on the field. Bad. Can't do that. Couldn't do that. So we'll see how that goes this year with that. But nothing really happened at OTAs besides press conferences, interviews. Nobody's really going into detail or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's pretty tight-lipped. I mean, at this point in the year, I feel like there's not a ton to glean on. Like would be nice to know who's pulling ahead a little bit in the quarterback battle. I think you're saying a little bit. It sounds like it's still pretty even and pretty neck and neck. But at this point in the year, like. Just not a whole lot to glean on, and we still are 3 months away from the season even starting, a little bit more than 3 months, so plenty of time to figure this stuff out. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of news going around in the NFL besides Justin Jefferson getting paid, and any other guy. But for the Raiders, obviously, it doesn't make much of a difference. So that's about it. We got the roll on. Hit that time of year, that lull.
The lull time. I guess we get a little bit for mandatory minicamp. I don't know how much we're to get for mandatory minicamp, but I guess we'll get more than this. You know what I mean? Like the OTA just seems like really slow. I mean, nobody's really there either. I mean, because Jack Sparrows-Johnson might still be hurt, which is kind of concerning. But Matthew Butler and Nesta Jade aren't performing. Max Crosby didn't practice today, so
this is the time of year where you're cautious. Like I get a little I know I've had some people ask about JPJ, and I mean I will admit his injury history isn't exactly encouraging. The fact that battled injuries. I think beginning of his career at Oregon, got hurt at the Senior Bowl, and then now again he's out. But at the same time, this is the time of year where you come up sore at all, they're going to pull you out, especially this early on when it's just still voluntary workouts. If he misses next week, I'd get a little more nervous. And then obviously if it leaks into training camp, that's when it becomes oh crap, what the hell's going on? But yeah, it is one of those things where it's they don't have to release any injury info. So we don't even know how severe it is and all that stuff. So I'm not going to be too worked up about it, about a guy being held out of, voluntary workouts, but not exactly encouraging for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if people hold out of mandatory minicamp, that's when we gonna be like, you know what I'm saying? Because because Tua showed up today, right? Tua showed up today for his mandatory minicamp. Most of the guys, I think CeeDee Lamb didn't show up, but I mean, he's trying to get Justin Jefferson money, who got crazy money, $35 million, which I don't know how much CeeDee Lamb's gonna get, especially they got to pay Dak too. Dak's threatening them with I'm gonna leave. Oh yeah, they haven't paid Micah yet. Have they paid Micah?
They picked up his 5th-year option, but because Micah was, or no, I don't think they I think they picked it up, but Micah was the draft after CeeDee, so he's still got a few years left before they have to really worry about paying him. But yeah, it's Cowboys have some decisions to make, that's for sure.
Yeah, because it's gonna be tough. I mean, to be honest, they should pick quarterback, whatever they do. But I mean, just don't do, because I was watching the Chargers today, and watching Jaylen Guyton, and I was like, just don't do what the Chargers did, which is keep 2 defensive guys and let the best receiver on your team go, who Justin Herbert was throwing to the whole time I was watching the film. Just kept throwing to him, and he was just getting open. I'm thinking, who is gonna replace this guy? Like, was that smart? Like, if you let Khalil Mack go, I could probably find an edge rusher quicker than I could find Keenan Allen. Unless they expect McConkey to be that, but I don't know.
It's hardball, baby. They're just going to pound the rock. They're only going to throw it 20 times a game. It doesn't matter.
Justin Herbert's going to run for 700 yards this year. Is that the plan? All right, turn him into mini Colin Kaepernick, I guess.
Yeah, I was watching it popped up on Twitter. I was watching the highlights of that, like, what was it, the Niners Saints wild card game from a few years ago, and then Alex Smith on a quarterback sweep out of empty, I think it was. I'm like, man, is that going to be Justin Herbert this year? Because I mean, I know Smith could shoot a little bit, but I feel like Herbert was a better athlete. Like, I'm like, this is exactly what Harbaugh is envisioning with Herbert. I can imagine is using his legs, letting him run a little bit.
I could see that, man, because Herbert can move, man. I mean, it's one thing he could do. He can move pretty well. It was hard for me today because it always is a hate watch for me with Justin Herbert. I appreciate his game when I'm not but it's like half Raiders fan in me watching him, and it's like half quarterback fan. So it's like a duality right there, man. I'm like, why did you make that great throw? You know what I mean? So
yeah. Do you get that with Mahomes though, or is it just that Mahomes is so special that it's just like you have to enjoy it?
Yeah. Mahomes is different because Mahomes is just like so special, and I always like Mahomes. I'm more mad that the Chiefs got him.
That's right. Yeah. I forgot that you were the Mahomes bandwagon. The leader.
Yeah, I loved him in college since I saw him play against ASU, so that was a different thing. So yeah, I do have more of a hate for Patrick Mahomes because he keeps winning, and it doesn't matter what people are doing around him. So a little bit, but Justin Herbert is, I guess, it's more because he was just crowned so early, and I kind of knew what he kind of was and already. But so I guess it's more than that. It's more how people talk about Justin Herbert, and he plays for the Chargers. If they talked about it normally and he played for the Chargers, it would be just a thing, but. I get it watching them, but I don't know. It's just funny stuff. All right. Besides that, because there's no football going on here, we got Michael Gallup and Jaylen Guyton. So Jaylen Guyton and Michael Gallup were signed later on after the draft, like right after the draft. They didn't get any wide receivers, and they went like May 1st and May 2nd. They got these guys, brought him in. Gallup probably has more upside because he used to be a starter before, and Jaylen Guyton was always been like that 4th receiver on the team. Never really been, maybe a 3rd. So what were your thoughts on Michael Gallup?
Yeah, I mean, I know he was never like a burner or anything like that, but he's definitely lost a little bit of speed and I think a little bit of explosiveness off the line. Like I have a few clips here where like he just like cornerbacks just didn't have to respect his speed. Like you can see like he's still kind of laboring, not exactly the explosive dude that maybe he once was, where he was winning on a lot of vertical routes. But that being said, like he did have a couple wins where he didn't create much separation on go routes, but he going up and get it and made a couple of nice plays. Still tracks the ball really well. A guy that I think has some suddenness to him. Like you'll see a few routes that where he's again not exploding out of the cut and not burning anybody, but he's got enough veteran savviness and has been around the league long enough that he can do some things like within the route and then snap it off real quick and create some separation. Like he'll get some corners turned around. A little bit better, like after the catch than I think the number would suggest. He's not a guy that's going to make you miss or anything like that or run anybody over. But what he was good at is he has a couple clips where he ran through some arm tackles, shows some decent contact balance, and he's good at finding the lane, good at catching the ball and getting upfield and being able to exploit the avenue and find like that off the ball lane to help turn plays in. So he's definitely got some stuff left in the tank. I just don't know how much is high end at this point. I mean, who knows what the Raiders, I don't know if the Raiders really need that. He is probably just going to be their fourth receiver, but there are definitely a few plays where you're like, all right, I can see it. Like I can see the vision where this guy can fill out your depth chart. And, you know, if you need a play where he might fall by the wayside with guys like Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers, even a Trey Tucker because of his speed, like where that's your where your attention is, you know, Michael Gallup could sneak in and make a few plays that move the chains and help you win ball games for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. So you know, just from watching Gallup from before, you know, I know he can win deep, but he's not like a speed guy, but he does win deep. He's pretty good release. He can run most of the route tree, but it's a little stiff from what I remember from him. But I do see an upside with him being like a fourth receiver, maybe being the third guy. So you know, especially if they move Jacoby around, it's just more like what they do with Trey Tucker when it comes to him. That's kind of the thing with Michael Gallup. Jaylen Guyton is a little different. You know, I think he's gonna have a little trouble making this football team. It's not gonna be easy for him to do it. He's gonna have to. I don't know. He's gonna have to ball like just ball. I don't know how he looks like right now, but he's gonna have to ball to make this football team. It's just more because, you know, especially from what I remember, he is a little slower, right? So he is a tiny bit slower. I don't know if he's healthy now, or maybe that's something that he was dealing with before. Maybe he's more healthy, you know, going into this offseason. And going into the season, maybe that'll make a big difference. But, you know, it's still, even then, he's still a little stiff. You know, talk about Gallup being stiff. I mean, it's a little bit worse for him. And he's seemed like he was easy to cover this past year. So that's the thing with him. And, you know, his hands aren't the best. Those type of things. Like, I really feel like that he has to be, like, wide open to kind of do things. And he doesn't offer a lot of yak. So it's going to be a little difficult because, you know, I look at Ramel Keaton, right? And I'm like, he's kind of the same thing. And if I'm going to choose one, I'm going to go with the young guy who kind of has more upside because he might become better than what Jaylen Guyton becomes. So that's going to be the interesting part with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like with Guyton, like the way he has any chance of making the team is special teams and that returner spot. But I do feel like the Raiders have a bunch of options in returners between Amir Abdullah, Dylan Lobby, who we've talked about a lot, or talked about a few weeks ago, and then I think that's what Guyton did a little bit with the Chargers there too. And yeah, I mean, I think just from judgment from the outside, I'm interested to see what the film looks like. Like you said, I feel like it's going to be a major uphill battle. I did look it up though. In 2022, he tore his ACL. And then last year started on PUP and wasn't activated until November. So it sounds like so he really hasn't played since 2021 because he tore his ACL in week 3 of 2022. So that gives you a little bit of where he's at. And I mean, like you said, maybe some of it was him not being fully healthy last year and obviously took a while to come back from that injury. So maybe, you know, can get back to a little bit where he was because he was productive of it, if I remember, in 2022. Or 2021, excuse me.
Yeah. And 2020.
Like decent yards. Yeah, he had a good 2-year run. It's kind of funny. Both him and Gallup had like good 2-year runs around the same time. And injuries have hurt them the last few years.
Yeah, because you know, a lot of Justin Herbert's craziest highlight throws he has were to Jaylen Guyton. You know, like the one to the Giants, where, you know, he's rolling out and throws that 70-yard bomb. The one against the Bucks from 2020, a lot of those plays were to Jaylen Guyton. So you kind of think that maybe he gets healthy, the speed will get back. But yeah, he was dealing with some injuries and stuff like that last year. So we'll see though. We'll see how that works. All right, man. Let's get into Michael Gallup here. Boom. Yes, I do.
All right, sweet. So I'm gonna start with the bad as always, and kind of gonna go off of what I was talking about in the intro, where just isn't really explosive, doesn't quite have the speed he used to have off the line. Like I know you're talking about his release, but like you can see on this one, like he kind of takes a while to get going and just never at any point does he even threaten this cornerback deep. Now he does get the PI call here, but I don't know. This to me was pretty weak, pretty ticky-tack. I know Keyshawn Clark does have his hands on him, but I've seen worse not get called.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, like we'll see it again on this next rep. I think against Slay, where he's just the burst just isn't quite there at this point. And I think that partially has to do with knee injuries over the last few years, and plus getting a little bit older. He is 28, so getting up there in age and bad knee is not exactly the ideal situation. Kind of see it again here. Ironically, he got another PI call here. And I do have to say, he had another one later. I think that I actually picked it up. For whatever reason, he, like in the 2 games I watched, he was like good at getting like ticky-tack, like kind of cheap like PI calls for whatever reason. I don't know if that's like a skill set you can really count on, but like this, I don't know how that is PI. Again, I've seen a lot worse not get called, but back to his skill set, like same thing. Like at no point is Slay really threatened by his speed, not exactly explosive off the line anymore. So that's kind of where I think he's most efficient as far as being a deep threat. But moving on to what he can do, like we're going to see a little bit of that veteran savviness that I was talking about in the intro. Going to run a little out here. I feel like how he kind of stems this inside. This is tricky too, because he's actually going to end up getting matched up against this outside corner. He does a good job of selling the in right there, using a little head fake. Like you can see where this guy is, number 20, has his hips pointed and is starting to drive on the in route, and he breaks it out to the outside. Obviously doesn't get targeted there, but I think if Dak was looking his way, that might have been a touchdown because he did get some separation, or maybe another one of those PI calls again.
I thought that was an easy touchdown. Booty Baker's a beast. Anyways.
Yeah, you guys pretty damn good. See a little bit of it here too. Yeah, not the greatest route in the world. Not exactly a sharp cut, but similar type of thing. And this is what I like. He did this a lot. We'll see this again later, where like he's setting up like the comeback route. So he drives inside, gets Bradbury to open. Again, not the smoothest cut, but works back to the quarterback at least get make that catch and move the chains here. So again, attacks some leverage, works inside, gives himself some room. Nice little first down. We'll take that. So this one's going to be a touchdown, but I'll be honest, it's schemed open. Nice little pick play against here man coverage using CeeDee Lamb, the future $35 million man as the decoy here. But what I do like from Gallup that he does well on this is like you're going to see him sell the pick and like sell the goal line fade here, and that's going to keep the corner with his eyes on him, with the eyes on Gallup, and like help set up this pick. And then again, just easy walk-in touchdown. Not much to the route. Again, schemed up, but nice little job by Gallup to at least do his part and sell that route and help make it easy for the quarterback. Moving on to a little bit of the yak. Again, route not much to talk up, just a short curl against off coverage. But this is the one I was talking about with his contact balance. He had a couple reps like this against Arizona where he just kind of ran through some arm tackles. What I like too, and this partially good ball by Dak, like he's going to turn and he's going to let Dak turn him up the field. And what that does is that makes this a harder tackle for this corner. Let me back this up a little bit. Who's playing with inside leverage. So this corner, I think that's Marco Wilson, almost has to dive and lunge to go tackle him. And it ends up being an arm tackle, gets to balance, go pick up the first down. So what 2-3 yard route, 4 yard route, ends up being a first down on whatever, second and 15, second and 16. So nice little play there. Again, not a guy that's going to make a ton of people miss, but he does have a little bit of contact balance to run through some arm tackles and pick up first downs and tack on some extra yards after the catch. This time going to be a similar rep here, just a little smoke screen. Again, another arm tackle that we're going to get from, I believe, same guy, Marco Wilson. Nice job using a little stiff arm there too. Breaking the tackle. Obviously don't get as nice of a result here, but hey, we're tacking on yards. And again, as far as from a standpoint of what he can bring, like this is first and 10, excuse me, and we're setting up second and 5. Nice little stiff arm, forced arm tackle, second and 4 actually. So hey, we're staying on schedule at the very least. Ooh. This one kind of combined a little bit of that savviness and the suddenness I was talking about. Nice little slant here. This time against press coverage. And what I like is if you're going to notice when he comes off the line, he's going to press outside for about 3 steps and then snap it right off inside and that's going to get him right open. And look what that does to the corner. Like right there, that's not exactly a good spot to be in to defend against a slant, and boom, whips his head around. And on top of it too, combine a little bit of those yak skills that I was talking about. Not going to make guys miss, but what he does do, get those shoulders down, get his momentum going forward, and that helps him go pick up that first down there. It's a chain mover.
Mm-hmm.
Similar type of rep right here. Same thing. Nice little slant route against a little bit, I guess, somewhat of press coverage, about 2 yards off the ball. Same thing. Boom. Gets on the corner's toes here to make that harder to cover him, and then just snaps it off like right there. Eats up the space, doesn't give the corner a lot of time to react. Makes the catch, and we go find the lane. Turn a 6-7 yard catch into a 20-yard gain. This is perfect. Just split the defenders, get upfield, find the optimal path. Again, nice little 20-yard gain there to flip the field. We'll take it. This is another one of the PIs. They actually picked this one up. But again, for whatever reason, the guy drew three flags for DPI in the 2 games I watched. So I guess we got to give him a little bit of credit where credit is due. But this is going to be a nice little sluggo route. See it again. Not exactly the greatest cut, but he's at least a little quick and sudden with it. And that kind of leaves the corner guessing. And then to draw the PI that got picked up. A little bit of an underthrow by Dak. This is more on target. This is a touchdown. But
yeah.
Still got some quickness in him. We'll end with a couple vertical routes. That's what I was talking about here. All right, not exactly going to be running away from a guy, but this is a beautiful adjustment. That's one thing that I like that I know you'll appreciate him, Marcus. Is his ball tracking is still really good. We're going to see that again on the other rep too. But similar thing here. Not going to beat Keitrell Clark, who's a pretty fast rookie. Doesn't really get any separation, but it makes a beautiful adjustment to the ball. Dak throws it back shoulder, goes up and gets it. Again, another good explosive play down the field. When you're not fast, the way you can create explosive plays is being a good ball tracker and using your body well. We'll see it here on the end zone view, a good view of it. The other thing I like too is like he turns his body into the corner to help shield him and put himself between the ball and the defender so the defender can't make a play on it. And then to come down and get a little toe drag swag near the sideline. Nice rep. Still got some body control, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Last one, and this one's one of my favorite plays of the bunch. I'll let it play for a second here, then break it down. I mean, that was a beautiful grab. This put the game away too against the Eagles. Like you can see this, back this up. Again, going against press coverage. Does a good job with his first step, getting the square, attacking the leverage a little bit. And that's going to give him more room to the sideline and keep this corner guessing on where you're going to go, inside or outside. That ends up paying off big time because Dak can then put that ball towards the sideline and has more room to complete the pass. And a little toe drag swag again on the sideline. And to back this up to reiterate what I was talking about earlier so y'all don't think I'm crazy. Not a ton of speed. Like at this point, he should be gone. If he still had his healthy knees, he's gone and got this guy by a step or two. Maybe he has half a step on, I think that's Avonte Maddox. But again, not exactly separating, but he tracks the ball well, and a good pass is going to help him get open. Get open and then end up creating an explosive play. Get a couple end zone views on this one. See him track it. Boom.
Nice.
Make a nice catch. Laying out a little bit. This one does a really good job of showing how he's one kind of, I guess not diving or technically laying out, but outstretching his arms and has the wherewithal to get his feet down. Like you'll see it right here. Beautiful rep. Beautiful rep. So again, not a guy that's going to burn anybody, going to win a ton deep, but he's got like at least enough like veteran savviness to him and enough shake that he can make some good plays and stuff and whatnot. And as we saw in that one contested catch, has some pretty good body control still. So definitely a guy, like I said, can make a few plays here and there for you, move the chains when you need to. And maybe you can, if the defense has their attention elsewhere with the rest of the Raiders' weapons, which they have some pretty damn good ones, he can make a couple plays here and there.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of looked like, how he usually does. That's what I remember Michael Gallup looking like, being able to track the football really well, being able to catch the ball, just adjusting to where Dak threw that ball, because the quarterback's supposed to throw it toward the sideline. He wasn't that close to the sideline, but he was able to find the football and then also keep his feet down, finding the ball up in the air. So that's why I think he's not like the ultimate deep threat, but he's a good 40-yard pass. Like if he could beat you and then you can throw the ball up to him, he can make a play for you. He's one of those type of guys. And you showed him, beating press and winning his slants. That's why I think that he'll have the edge on some of these other wide receivers that are there, because he does have that little bit of savvy to him. He makes up for his lack of speed, being able to stack guys and do a lot of those things. So he's just a very savvy player. Good hands too. Like he doesn't drop the ball a lot. So that's one thing you notice too.
Only had 3 drops this past year. And the one thing that I'm kind of intrigued by, that like when I was watching him and kind of tying it into our last episode, his skill set's pretty similar to like Ramel Keaton's, like where I feel like he could be like if you're Ramel Keaton, like, and if you're the wide receivers coach, if you're Edgar Bennett, you're telling Keaton, be like, watch that guy and see what he does, because that's what you can be. And I think size wise they're about the same too. I think Gallup's about 6'3", 200 pounds, and about what Keaton is. So be interested to see too how those two guys can kind of play off each other, because again, I think they're pretty similar players where they're just at different, obviously very different stages in their careers.
Yeah, for sure, man. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of upside with him, though. Like I think he can come on this team and like I said, if they want to move Jakobi Meyers inside, and it all depends on how they feel about Trey Tucker. Really, when I'm saying this, because I don't know that. I mean, nobody's talking about. They just talk about the quarterbacks in that deal. Nobody's talking about where the wide receivers are lining up and who's where, is Michael Gallup in front of this guy. We don't know that right now. So But if they decide to go with Michael Gallup being like the number 2 and then putting Jakobi Meyers inside, it will work. And, he can do his thing out there. And I think it makes a pretty good wide receiver room altogether. Yeah,
for sure. A lot of talent out there. A lot of talent at pass catcher spot this year for sure. So it gives you one hope for the unstable quarterback situation. Whoever takes over is going to have a lot of guys to throw to. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure, dude. All right, so let's get into some Jaylen Guyton here, Mood. All right, so Jaylen Guyton here. So basically, kind of go over his routes. Of course, we all, start off with the positive here. So I mean, he's a decent route runner. He's not an awful route runner, but definitely just decent. It's not something that he's gonna lean his head on or anything like that. Kind of see here on this one, even though you really can't see it. Does a little pushback on this one, comes back to the football, but ends up just kind of getting open here. Just kind of didn't zoom on that one a little bit too much, but that's fine. We'll just get past that one. Anyway, so he didn't get the ball anyways. So, all right, here we go. So here's another one here. See here, it's a pretty good route. Kind of gets open there. He was used a lot in the slot, so maybe that's a lot to do with his injury last year. You see here, he's 1-on-1 here. Right, maybe too many steps there. Just kind of get out of this break. He's able to get some separation here. Catch the football from Justin Herbert. Get a little bit of first down. So kind of see that, he's not the greatest route runner in the world, but he can get the job done at times. So he's just a little stiff, and, just from hip movement and those type of things, that he's not able to just get separation on some of these shorter routes like that. All right, so here we go. Another one from Jalen here. So you kind of see a little bit of the stiffness here on this one. He does end up getting open here, but he's going to do basically a whip route here. So to come inside, you kind of just see how long it kind of takes him to get out of his break here. So you see here, it's a full stop. Like I'm stopping, right? Before I can, change directions here, right? So he doesn't create that much separation. Allows the cornerback to make that tackle. He does a good job breaking that tackle and break a couple tackles here. Showing a little bit of good yak here, but you kind of see that, it's just cement in the ground, and then I move instead of making a good fluid movement there. Just one more time. So, when it comes to these shorter routes, that's the thing. Like when he really can only do one thing, and if he's not as fast as he used to be, it just makes it interesting. Like, how is he going to make this football team? And that's kind of where the question comes in.
His feet in quicksand on that one.
Yeah, for sure. All right, here we go. So next one here. So on this one, I mean, this one you just kind of see him just be able to get downfield. They're doing a fake screen here, so he's gonna be able he sells it really well, goes inside, goes in out, and then Herbert just throws a crazy throw here. that, not every human can throw. But he does a good job of maintaining concentration on the football, because a lot of guys, when they see this type of player running at them, right, they might end up dropping this pass. So I thought he did a good job of concentrating on the football, catching that ball through traffic for a touchdown. That was just, your average person can't do that. Nobody in the Raiders can do that. Let's say that. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just a lot of humans that can make this throw.
No,
honest.
that was a rope.
Crazy rope.
I got to give Guyton credit. Like you said, wasn't worried about getting his head taken off, which probably should have, because that was close.
It was close, because Kirby Joseph read this so well too. Yeah. Like Kirby Joseph thought he was getting, he thought he was going to get one, but then he realized what quarterback he's facing, because he didn't even get there. This is crazy on this time. Yeah, but that's a good job of him concentrating and just bringing this football in for a touchdown. All right, so here's another one here, and that's what I talk about. His speed maybe not be there as much, but you can still see it here. I think Herbert probably could have went to him on this one, but I just believe that he probably just wanted to go here. He's trying to hold the safety so he can go to Johnson, expecting Johnson to win. Because he's running on the field there, but you kind of can see his speed a little bit there. So it's still there. Like, it's not something that he totally lost. Elements are there. It's just more, what's he going to do besides that, to be honest? Yeah. So here, like I said, like he doesn't really have a lot of yak ability either, to be honest. So you see like a play like this, it's third down. I mean, Justin Herbert checks it down, maybe expecting to make a play for him. It's not going to happen. He's going to get tackled. He kind of got, Patrick Queen just knocked him out.
Yeah, those are two pretty damn good linebackers. What was that? No, that's Smith, I think.
No, number 10. I don't know who that is. Well, that's the dude that just blitzes all the time. I don't even know his name, but I call him the Ravens blitzer because that's all he does. Yeah, so. Yeah, that's Roquan. It's like a cheat code to have Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith, and Patrick Queen, but that's not going to happen anymore. Yeah, but you just, it's just because he doesn't have the change of direction. You kind of see it. He reminds me of Michael Floyd. I don't remember Michael Floyd, but he reminds me of Michael Floyd so much.
A little bit, yeah. Same number too, right?
15? I know, yeah. That's who I thought when I was watching this. Maybe he's like Michael Floyd. Now, this is a good route here. Now, saying he does a little bit better in the slot. This is Kyle Hamilton too. So this is a good route. Justin Herbert ends up missing him here, but you see here, he does a good job of kind of getting square, which kind of, sets up that two-way go, which way he's going to go. Then he cuts inside really quickly, right? And what I like is the little savvy arm over, because, Kyle Hamilton tries to get his hands on him, because Kyle Hamilton's a big, strong guy. He does a good job of fighting off, right? Fighting off those hands. He's open here, but Herbert just ends up missing him. Yeah. It is interesting though. Like he maybe if he keeps running, he catches this ball. I don't know. That's just I don't look at it because I don't know why. But hey,
yeah, he put his hands up a little too quickly.
See, because what's funny about this? Because Justin Herbert throws so hard, maybe he's like, I don't know,
prepping himself.
Like it's just funny that he did this. Like I didn't notice this when I was recording it until right now. But it's like he just put his hands in it, like. So that's why I don't trust accuracy charts, guys. That's why I don't trust them right there. This type of play, because is that Jaylen Guyton or is that Herbert? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see it from this angle here. I mean, you can speed the burst there. He's open. But yeah, it's like he just was expecting that ball to come to different spots. Maybe it is on Herbert a little bit.
Yeah. I think he had to rush the throw a little bit because that was that Slater that got beat like a drum.
Yeah, he did. All right, so here he is. Let's talk about his releases a little bit. I think his releases they're okay, but like I said, he's just so stiff that it's hard for him to get separation when he's facing press coverage, right? So you see here against Kyle Hamilton, who is not as fast as him, right? And you kind of see he didn't give Kyle Hamilton really nothing, right? Just kind of just stemmed inside like right away. Didn't really give him anything. Kyle Hamilton does a good job of staying square and not opening the gate early. It sticks right with him. And then, he tries to pull away. Kyle Hamilton's able to just hang right with him because of that press coverage. He was able to get his hands on him early. And then he's not able to be physical at the catch point too, because this ball is severely underthrown. But even here, like I think a savvy wide receiver, like you watch Michael Gallup, he's might be drawing a PI here simply because his tight coverage is underthrown. I know you're saying you find a way to try to come back to the football. It's like he was expecting Justin Herbert just to make the perfect throw, and he didn't track the ball very well. But yeah, it's 6'4", 220 pounds, guarding a guy who runs a 4.4 is just nuts to me. I know he got beat earlier, but it's just crazy to watch. I watched this play like 5 times. Like, how? What the hell is this?
It's just freaky long.
It's just, right? He almost picked it too. That's what I'm talking about, like ball tracking, and the ball's in the air, right? And then get your eyes back on the ball. You want to come back to it, right? He's got his eyes on the ball. You could tell the ball's being underthrown. And that's so you could draw a PI here or something, right?
Yeah, go up and get it and like get one of those cheap calls.
Mm-hmm. All right, so here he is. He's gonna run a comeback. It's gonna look like what happened to Michael Gallup a little bit here, but he tries to give him the release here. 21 does another great job of staying square here, not opening the gate, and trusting his speed. And you see here like this comeback. I don't know. It's just not a lot to it. There's a lot of steps. It's just not very clean route.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but he doesn't look like confident in himself a little bit. Like he looks like he's like a guy coming off of an injury, which I understand he is, but like you'd kind of hope he would over a year after it would be a little bit cleaner and like a little bit more confident in his breaks.
Yeah, or because another thing too is he's not really selling the go route, in my opinion. I feel like he's trying his hardest to run a good curl, right?
Yep.
And like even getting his eyes around really quick, and then he doesn't even really finish the route. He kind of rounded it off. Because if Justin Herbert was trying to target him, this is picked off. It's a pick 6. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So like I said, man, nothing crazy, and that's why it's going to be a little bit of a struggle for him to make this football team, in my opinion. So here he is, another one, and a little bit of false step in this release this time, right? And then he just doesn't do a good job of selling the go. Like you could kind of tell he's running a comeback the whole time, right? If you are a corner, right? He's not a slow guy, right? You'd rather him sell this, go full speed, and then kind of stop. But it felt like he was just kind of going half speed, trying to time up his steps and everything, and then he's not able to do anything. And it just kind of gets locked up here. It's another one
Also,
like if Herbert, go ahead.
I was just saying his pads, he's super high when he's trying to make these cuts, which makes it harder, and also makes it harder to sell the vertical route.
Mm-hmm. It's like he's just letting the guy know, hey, I'm running a comeback. The guy's just right all over him. So, all right, so last one here. And this is a slant route. And this is talking about like if you are going to play him, you probably have to play him more inside so he gets free releases and just can run down the seam and stuff like that. Because even on this one, I mean, the guy he goes outside, so he's given up the inside, in my opinion, right? You kind of can see him move outside a little bit, and Guyton is able to get back inside. But even here, it was like it's just not the most aggressive route. And like I said, it might be the injury, it might be coming off the torn ACL, it might have a little bit to do with it, but it just feels like that he just doesn't have that change of direction that you like to be a full-time wide receiver like this, and then he doesn't catch the football.
Yeah,
because the ball is right there. Which I was talking about his hands a little bit. You want to catch that football. Ball just ate him up. So yeah, so I mean that's Jaylen Guyton a little bit. Like I said, it's not too much to be like super excited about. Like, oh my god, Jaylen Guyton there. You know, Michael Gallup, of course, looks way better than he does. I mean, you just see. I mean, just be not seeing both films. I mean, it's pretty clear who would be the better guy there for them. But you know, like I said, I don't know. You know, maybe Guyton's healthy, and maybe he comes out and you know he has some more confidence, and maybe just not being picked up, and you know, obviously Tom Telesco is a fan of the guy, obviously to bring him in.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works, but it's just not a lot there for me to see him. Like, you know, I don't want them keeping him over Tulu Griffin. Let's say that. Like, you know, if they have to choose between those two, I would rather have Tulu Griffin in there because one, he could return kicks, and Tulu is just has more wiggle to him, and he's able to get open. You know, get some of the best corners in college football. So, you know, you'd rather have that type of young guy in there with upside. But, you know, at this point, I feel like Jaylen Guyton's a little bit just of a camp body, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, to me, like I watched that film and it looked like a guy who was like out there, like trying to make sure he didn't get hurt again. Like it looked like a guy that wasn't fully confident in his knee and in his body to be able to do the movements that he needed to do to be able to get open. Like he just looked a little more reserved. Like he was almost like he was holding back a little bit. I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, hopefully people can pick up on that a little bit from what I'm saying just by watching it, but it didn't look like a guy that was playing with a ton of confidence, in my opinion. And, you know, watching that one slant route where like he did the same thing, like he did the same movement as Michael Gallup, but Michael Gallup was able to snap it off and be able to create some separation and whatnot. And to me, just played a little bit more confidently and kind of had been able to adjust to maybe losing a step or two after the injury, whereas Guyton seems like is still kind of figuring that out and how to play like that and how to play with the new knee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he probably feels like he's not as fast as he can. It was just a lot of confidence because even Michael Gallup's injury was terrible. Like that was a bad injury for him. So for him to come back and even look that good, you know, says a lot about him. So, you know, that's why I really like him. I really like that pickup, especially for cheap, because I think he could be a good wide receiver and gives them some good depth there. Just, you know, if Devontae Adams went down, you feel a lot better, you know, having Michael Gallup there, in my opinion. So, but Jaylen Guyton, like I said, he just feels like more of a camp body, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know. So,
and I feel like too, like you look at the situations that they're leading, like we are talking about the Chargers at the beginning, like they got rid of their top two receivers and we're trying to figure out who Justin Herbert's going to be throwing the ball to. Whereas Gallup kind of just got squeezed out in Dallas. Like obviously they weren't going to keep him around with CD Lamb's big contract coming up. Brandon Cooks had a good year for them last year. And Jalen Tolbert, I think, is going to be stepping into year 3 or 4 for them. So there was a little bit more, it was a little bit easier for the Cowboys to get rid of Gallup than it was or at least made more sense for them to get rid of than it did for the Chargers to get rid of Guyton, just from a personnel standpoint and what they had around the supporting cast. Now the other end of that is Gallup was also still available after the draft, so it kind of tells you where the rest of the league thinks of him. Yeah. But yeah, just looking at those two situations alone, like Gallup was kind of forced out a little bit, whereas the Chargers very clearly just chose that, or the Chargers just don't really think Guyton could play anymore.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, guys. Well, that's the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll be back this weekend doing something. We'll figure that out. Check out Friday Night Live, of course, on Friday. Also, I do want to announce that we're going to bring my other podcast, a little Pocket Awareness. So we're going to bring that onto the network here. So, you know, so you get some quarterbacks every week. And, you know, you could tell us, you know, how bad I am with my quarterback list, and you can yell at me about that. So it'd be fun. So we're going to bring that on the channel. So we expect to start that next week. So it's going to be a lot of fun stuff we're going to be doing here, guys. So just, you know, be on the lookout for more really cool stuff. And of course, shout out College Football Dogs for supporting us, and hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Any last words, Matt?
Not much, man. We're about to enter we're kind of already in the dog days of summer, so we'll come up with some creative stuff, maybe dive into a few more training camp battles and stuff like that coming up. But it's an interesting time of year where we have a little bit of downtime, a little bit of time to kick back and relax, but still got some good football to go over. Kind of like this time of year too, where we take a little bit of a different perspective and go a little bit deeper into guys that you may not think about until the season when it really end up making a play. So
yeah. All right, guys, we're out of here. Peace.